consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear Pan-Africanists watching us on the Pan-African Daily TV. Today we have a break-in, and it's all about Sudan. It's all about Sudan. Sudan is on fire for the past 3-4 days now. And we are gathering a lot of information as there's been a riot. Is it a rioting? No. A rebellion? Is it a rebellion? No. What is that going on actually? Just share some break-ins about it, some very important key points, some videos that we've been getting on the social media. And of course, the voice of Sudanese are rising up every minute as they are wailing. They are streaming their streets to say, we don't want any military regime, any military government again in Sudan. We want a civilian role in Sudan. The Sudanese people have been crying out for the past 3 days. The young people on the street, we have seen casualties coming out from there. And it is our responsibility on the Pan-African Daily, when things happen like this, when break-ins happen on the continent or in the diaspora, that we report from our own point of view. Tonight, we want to talk about the situation in Sudan. Up till now, we actually don't have a correspondent because our correspondent for Sudan, who is actually also a Sudanese and a member and a teacher and an elder on the Pan-African Daily, Dr. Tony Jaja, is no way to be found. We've tried to reach out to him. He is not reachable. We just hope he is safe. And I'm just sending out this very important communique. Dr. Tony Jaja, if you can hear me or you can see me, of course, we are looking for you. We're searching for you. We hope you are okay. We hope your family is okay. The family out there in Sudan is okay. Reach out to us, please. We want to get you on this conversation anytime this week to know what is going on in Sudan as we keep a close eye on the situation out there. Yes. We also try to reach out to Al Wahab, our correspondent, in terms of political and diplomacy in the sector of conflicts. Yeah, and uprisings on the continent. I mean, he's been talking on when we had the Mali uprising, when we had the Burkina Faso, when we had the Guinea Conakry coup d'etat, and all these uprisings, even the Amazonian uprising. We had Al Wahab as a diplomat who analyzed this key situation. So to put it in a way that the people out of the continent and even those on the continent would understand what is going on. But right now, Al Wahab is working on a very serious research to find out why this outbreak in Sudan. But the Sudanese are also talking to us and saying this is something that has been happening, and they've been rallying around for a very long time, saying they don't want any military regime or military rule in the Sudan. If I'm wrong, please do correct me. I'm getting it from the feedbacks and the stories and the comments that we are having. And so last night, when the heat was on, we created a WhatsApp group for the Sudanese, to join in and tell us exactly what's happening. We are not a mainstream media. You all know it. We're not even a media. We're storytelling, telling our stories from our perspective, right? So we're not going to sit here and cook some stories and tell you this is what is going on. We want the Sudanese to speak up for themselves. So if you are a journalist, a researcher, a decision maker on the continent in Sudan, and you have facts, I'm talking about facts, and that you can help to educate us about what is going on in Sudan, please make sure you reach us on our WhatsApp number. I already posted it. Naisha posted it. Patrick posted it. The whole entire team has been reaching out to correspondents out there in the Sudan to give us a feedback. And this is exactly the point where Professor Pierre Lumumba makes a keynote, a speech about our situation as a whole continent in the eyes of a global world, that we are disunited and so we are weak. He said Africa is so weak because of our disunity, because we are not united. I'm going to play that video in the course of this conversation so you can hear what our problem is. He said we are politically weak. We are economically weak. Even when we have the richest minerals that every mobile phone on the continent and the planet is using today from the Democratic Republic of Congo, we ourselves, the Africans, cannot produce even a single mobile. Even when we have the most arable land for agriculture, we still are not. We're still complaining about food insecurity. Even when we have the natural herbs to treat ourselves, yet an African or Africa is not producing a single drug for headache. And he even said it clean and clear until COVID-19 had to expose the entire continent of Africa. And then we could see that all the 54 rose up their hands and was waiting for the world to bring them a remedy and a solution to the challenges affecting us. It is the same thing we're seeing in Sudan today. Our people are flooding the street, and it's just business as usual in Ghana, in Togo, in Mozambique, in Kenya, in Ethiopia. When are we going to rise up as a voice? I mean, the Sudanese have spoken and they have shown it. I've never seen a solidarity when people's voices are tempered like in Sudan. Watch the videos, watch the streets. It's all black, because I think that is the spirit when we talk about rising up. Not even the military can tame those people, those rioting. And you know what? The best thing about this rioting in Sudan, it's a peaceful rioting. Let me call it that way, politically trying to be correct, as the media has picked, the mainstream media, they've picked up the patches and like, oh, we congratulate the government or and the Sudanese for this peaceful rioting, going out on the street peacefully. I begin to ask myself, peaceful rioting? What is peaceful? Of course, we're talking about not having to burn down and break down the same buildings and lots of lives, which we are again going to suffer after. So congratulations, honestly, to the people of Sudan. We are all in solidarity with you these days. We have not left you alone. Africans have been tweeting from left, center, right, even though it is still not enough. Because normally when it happens, like it happened in Uganda, we all rallied and we tweeted. When it happened in South Africa, we all rallied and we tweeted. When it happened even in Zambia, when the elections were coming up, we all rallied as one. But Sudan seems as if the reaction that I've seen is a little bit docile. And this is not the spirit of Pan-Africanism. And this is exactly what Professor Pierre Lumumba and all the voices that are standing for a united Africa are absolutely condemning. We are weak, so weak because we are disunited. Why would the Sudanese be on the street and it is business as usual in Lagos? It is business as usual in Nairobi. It is business as usual in Yaoundé. Why? How can the African Renaissance take place if we still don't feel this impact that when it happens to one, it happens to all? And when it happens to all, it happens to one. And that is the point when I love this. I love this leadership that is rising up. From the Professor James Small to the Dr. Arikana, to the all of them that are speaking, to Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, and all those voices, even to our Queen Ngingone, who just rose up and is saying, the Nubian queens, it is our time to go back home. And today we're seeing these uprisings, we're seeing these happenings again, coming up from the side of Sudan. What is that telling us? When are we waiting to rise up? Rise up to create the Africa that we want. Is it only, we still are not empathizing. We had a young speaker last time who came on the show. What was he telling us? What was this kid telling us? We don't have the empathy for one another. If it happens to some other person, oh, no, it's Nigeria. Today it's happening in Sudan. No, it's Sudan. It is not Cameroon. It is not Nigeria. It's not Ivory Coast. It's not Guinea Conakry. It is not Senegal. But it's going to happen anytime soon. Isn't it a time that when we rise up, we're rising up in solidarity for each other? And now, for the first time, this is quite interesting. Just like we had our brother Rotendo last time, and he was talking about the U.S. sanctions in Zimbabwe. And now United Nations is talking, U.S. government is doing a research on it. That's a way forward for a peaceful living together in the world as humans, isn't it? So there is nothing wrong when people are rising up. The marginalized are saying our rights are tempered. This is what we want. This is how we want. There's nothing wrong. Is it not a way of calling the world attention to things that people have been so silent? So I want to thank all of you for joining up, adding your voices to Sudan. Sudan is on fire. And this week, watch out. We're going to be getting a correspondent out there. And we want to know actually, because this is history. When we talk about we're breaking all these things that are happening on the continent, some people just think that, we don't have enough work to do, or we just a mainstream media, or we just talking stories. After all, we are social media. Who takes that serious? But this is history. You know what we've been learning on the Pan-African Daily about all these countries? When they break down, that's when we have a story about them. That's when we even have a history. That's when we connect. That's when we relate to one another. And that is the spirit of Pan-Africanism. My dear family, we are no longer in that space where when it happens to A, it doesn't concern B. It happens to A, it concerns everybody. Now we're going to listen to this speech where Professor Pierre Lumumba to open up today. And I want to open up the calls because, like I said, we just announcing the breaking while we're waiting to get the correspondent. And we'll be telling you when this correspondence will be coming up this week. Is all on Sudan and other happenings around Africa. It's not been long that we was like, oh no, everything is calm, nothing is happening. Not that happenings are not, but we're talking like this kind of a situation, right? The last happening that we had that was breaking was the coup d'etat in Guinea Conakry, and somehow, they've had their government and they're still going through the procedure, but there has been some silence, right? And that was 3 weeks ago. And we were just like celebrating and thanking and praying and meditating and calling on Africans to stay fast, to stay awoke, irrespective of the fact that nothing is actually, but we just saw Ethiopia and Tigray escalated again. And we had measles and stuff like that. And sometimes it's like Africa is quiet. No, Africa is not quiet. What is happening is Africans are not waking up enough as it's supposed to be. And every day there is something happening on the continent and always stories that we need to get involved. We are not awake enough. We're still distracted. We're still into our petty things, think that that's life. Until we rise up and put our stakes together, put our voices together, put our money where our mouth is, like Dr. Rickona said, nothing is going to happen for us. I want to first of all also thank the United Nations for taking that action to say, let us look into the U.S. sanctions on Zimbabwe. And particularly, like our brother Rotendo told us, the U.S. government is sending even a team to assess, these sanctions on civilians. And now we also saw this morning, or that was yesterday, a tweet, from United Nations Security Secretary Antonio Guterres, Excellency, sorry, who tweeted on the situation in Sudan. What did he say? I have to put on this tweet because this is exactly what we are saying. When it happens, it has to happen for a lot of things. And I see Amos Nyango saying, yes, When this coup d'etats happen, there is a wake up. There is something. It is a spiritual shaking. If you were sleeping, you need to be upright, isn't it? And all of us are standing on the same, on the same, what are we talking about? On the same situation. So we need to wake up. It's not business as usual. It can be business today, but look at the majority on the continent. If you look at the pictures out there in Sudan, this is crazy. And you thought life was fine and everything was calm. But where are these invisible hands coming up? Now, Africa say, Sudanese are saying, we don't want a military rule. We want a civilian rule, right? We want a president that we can talk to. We're tired of seeing all these men in uniform and all these patrols going around. We want to be humans. We can understand, we can talk, we can communicate with one another. Put your regulations together. We would stick to it as citizens. We're all humans. We're not aliens. So what is wrong in not to us? We're not in those ages where people have to, in the West, people just follow the rules democratically according to their systems. In Africa also, even before. I asked yesterday in the conference on migration and media that we had in Hamburg, Germany, organized by Larry, a Nigerian born. And the question was, how were we before? How did our ancestors manage to build the world structures in Africa and even worldwide? How did they manage to do that if they were not a collective of people? If they were not working together, how did they manage to create such amazing work like the pyramids? I'm just taking only one. How did they come up to invent the mathematical theories and everything that we know today? If they were not one, if they were not united, if it wasn't the spirit of Ubuntu and Pan-Africanism in them, how did they work together to achieve all that success? How did Mansa Musa become one of the richest in history till today to finance, trade, commerce, economics? Is it today that we're talking about cryptocurrency? Oh, come on, give me a break. Africans had it long time ago. Is it today that we're talking on how to learn to do business? From who? Learn to do business? Are you kidding me? Where did our ancestors learn how to do business and became the continent that is so rich? How did they even know that we were rich? Because we were traders. And to today, we still see, even in the local cultures, even in Sudan today, you would see even the nomadic culture is visible everywhere, where just even they move with their cattle from one grazing to the other. What is that called? Is that called primitivity? Is that not business? What kind of technology does Africa need? Even when we keep talking about, oh, we are not industrialized enough, oh, we don't have the technology to develop. We have everything in Africa. If we borrow the technology of others to say, yes, we're living in a global world, so we can learn from others, it doesn't mean that we don't have. And so that's a very big mistake. We have everything, and we are waking up to start to just do our things our own way and engage in business with the world. And our Africans are raising. They're rising up and up and up. You've just seen the example in Sudan. We're going to play these videos out there. You're going to ask, like, what? I mean, for me, it was just like, this is the whole continent. This is only a Sudan. It's only a Sudan. Then imagine. Sometimes I don't know. I just imagine all the countries at the same time doing what Sudan is doing, for whatever reason, for the Africa we want, for our renaissance. Let's just take a day like this and put it, if it was not asking that we don't want a military role. Let's just imagine, let's only just imagine. Let me play with that stuff. Let's just imagine that we all rise up on a month or a year like this, all of us, and just say we are united to build the Africa that we want. Must we only unite or rise up when we don't want something? What if when we want something, we use the same spirit and rise up in unison and say we are one and united. We can work together. We can trade together. It is a wake-up call. The Sudanese have made it clear to their governments, to their leaders. This is what we want. It is up to their leaders to sit and negotiate and communicate with its citizens. They're not ruling aliens, they're ruling people. They're ruling people. So it's not a bad thing for people to rise up. And even when the media say, oh, we congratulate them. And the tweet, I'm still looking for that tweet. My God, I can't find it now. Only when we need things, things will not happen. Yeah. Only when we need them, we don't see them. But we're going to have it. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Anyway, just Atumi, can you play one of those videos on what is going on in Sudan? And we keep getting a lot of those videos. So it was just to wake you up to make sure you know that, you're sleeping and you're thinking that the continent is cool. No. It is not what you think. Something is happening. And today we're talking about Sudan. So just take a look. The other one again, and then we listen to the speech of Professor Pierre Lumumba on Pan-Africanism and why we must be united.
بيان لجان أحياء بحري 31 أكتوبر
نعلن الآتي: لا حوار ولا تفاوض ولا مساومة
بيان لجان أحياء بحري
الأمنية وقادة الوحدات العسكرية. لا حوار ولا تفاوض ولا مساومة مع أي من أعضاء المجلس العسكري الانقلابي وكل أعضاء اللجنة الأمنية وقادة الوحدات العسكرية. كل السلطة والثروة للشعب. كل السلطة والثروة للشعب.
بيان لجان أحياء بحري
السلطة الكاملة للمدنيين. محاكمة عاجلة للانقلابيين.
بيان لجان أحياء بحري 30 أكتوبر.
إطلاق سراح المعتقلين السياسيين. إطلاق سراح المعتقلين السياسيين. إبعاد القوات النظامية من العملية السياسية. إبعاد القوات النظامية من العملية السياسية. حل كل الميليشيات المسلحة وإعادة تكوين قوات الشعب المسلحة خلال فترة زمنية. حل كل الميليشيات المسلحة وإعادة تكوين قوات الشعب المسلح خلال فترة زمنية محددة. ختاما نؤكد موقفنا الداعم للإضراب السياسي العام والعصيان المدني الشامل. لذلك ندعو كل مواطني وثوار بحري مواصلة التدريس واحتلال الشوارع حتى الوصول للإضراب السياسي العام والعصيان المدني الشامل. كما سنواصل في تكوين مجالسنا المحلية التي أعلنا عنها في مليونية 21 أكتوبر. ثورة حتى النصر. نؤكد موقفنا الداعم للإضراب السياسي العام والعصيان المدني الشامل. لذلك ندعو كل مواطني وثوار بحري مواصلة التدريس واحتلال الشوارع حتى الوصول للإضراب السياسي العام والعصيان المدني الشامل.
Okay, I mean, at some point in time, the use of our local language or dialect is going to be very, very important in terms of this communication. That's why, we share our solidarity today with the people of Sudan, and we give them the voice and the space on our own platforms and everywhere that we are all watching them. We're all following up the stories out there as we are seeing this uprisings up there in Sudan. Like I said before, a very important reason why Africa needs to stand up as a collective, not only as individual questions, is the need for us to understand the role of order. If you understand the game, and so you can play the game. What is the games that are, or the game that Africans should be playing now? It is the spirit of Pan-Africanism, just knowing what Pan-African is all about. And I think that is going to be one of our biggest responsibility on the Africa We Want Global organization, going around on a trail, just teaching Africans what Pan-Africanism is all about. We need to take one step after the other. All the conferences on all business and this, anyway, we don't have any problem, any issues with that. Let them go on. But we are mobilizing a team on the continent, in the diaspora, to just go from city to city, community to community, block to block, teaching the African on Pan-Africanism. What does it mean, Pan-Africanism? Because this word has been used, has been abused in a political sense, and we don't even understand what Pan-Africanism is all about. It's just about Ubuntu. It's just about Ubuntu. I am because you are. Without you, I am not. I'm not existing. This is the original African philosophy of our way of life, right? We're saying Pan-Africanism because it's easy for us to understand this concept of being one, right? We also have Pan-Europeanism. It's not only African that was Pan. Pan means you have a self-identification to who you are, to who your ethics are, your politics or your culture. How do you redefine those structures according to who you are? That's just all. So it's not a political structure thing. It is a way of life of the Africa. Pan-Africanism, we are one. We all understand that we are one people connected through our culture, through our spirituality, through our way of life, through the way we just look and act. That is the spirit of Pan-Africanism. And we think the first thing that we should start doing is just teaching us again to know who we are. And that is the spirit of Ubuntu. So we'll be doing that in Germany also, where we're starting, and also mobilizing the continent while we're putting the blocks out there. The first work on the ground is us to teach ourselves again about what Pan-Africanism is all about. So I'll call on you to watch this 5 minutes video conversation on what Professor P.L.O. Lumumba said, which is very important. And we would conclude for today. Looking forward to get our guest speakers on the topic Sudan again this week. So take a look.
Nobody cares about us. And brothers and sisters, if you want to know how weak we are, and we are weak, look at how we are treated. Last month, the world met in New York. The General Assembly. When African heads of states and government are speaking, the hall is empty. Nobody bothers because they are saying nothing. Even if they are saying something, it is something that can be ignored. Compare when an African head of state and government is speaking and when the Prime Minister of Little Israel is speaking. They will listen because we are weak and disunited. So we have a weak continent because the spirit of Pan-Africanism disappeared. So the question that we can ask, what is the state of Pan-Africanism as we speak today? The African Union, which is weak, says the right things and does the wrong things 9 out of 10 times. And what are the critical areas in which we are weak? We are weak politically because nobody listens to us. We are not trading with one another. Intra-African trade is not anything beyond 15%, the lowest anywhere in the world. If you look at all our sectors and look at them, look at our agriculture, almost all African countries are net food importers. There is not a single African country that is in meaningful technology. Not a single African country produces a mobile phone. Yet the single most important ingredient in mobile telephony is to be found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Not a single African country produces a car other than assembling completely knocked down kits. There is no meaningful production of pharmaceutical products in Africa. And if there was any doubt, COVID exposed it. All African countries, the 55 of them, are waiting to either receive Sinovac from China, Sputnik from Russia, AstraZeneca, Johnson or Moderna. And we don't even know what they are because our bureaus of standardization don't know. If you ask the Ethiopian Bureau of Standards what they are asking us to be injected with, they do not know. They just believe it is a vaccine because the Americans have said so or because the Chinese have said so. Africa is weak, so that even this magnificent edifice, I suspect, has not been erected by Ethiopian engineers. When I see the signage in Chinese, I suspect it is the Chinese. That is how weak we are. That is the reality of our mother continent. It is because we are politically weak, we are economically weak, socially we are disorganized, culturally and spiritually we are confused. That is the continent in which we are today. We unite or we perish. That as I travel along across the world, people do not care about our Tanzanianness or our Ghanaianness or our Kenyanness or our Ethiopianness. In their eyes, we are all Africans. And perhaps that is what we should use as the building block in order to talk about African unity. But we are not being naive about that unity. Because sometimes when we talk about Pan-Africanism and about African unity, people think we are being too simplistic about it. No, it is not being simplistic and being naive. It is recognizing that as long as we remain the way we are, then Africa in the next 25 years will be recolonized.
Did you like or hate what you heard?
Thank you so much. I think it's as simple as that. And I used to say it myself. Sometimes when we talk about Pan-Africanism or the need for us to unite as one, we take it so simple. We take it so lightly. Anyway, today was just a break-in on what is going on in Sudan. And we're calling on you, Sudanese, to be calm. Yes, rise up and protect one another. No casualties. All our prayers, all our eyes, all our support are with you out there. And to all other countries on the continent that are going through a turmoil, it is time for all of us to rise up. There is no Ghanaianism. There is no Cameronism. There is no Togoism. There is no Lagosism. There's just a black continent of African people and those of their enslaved in the diaspora. Be them in West Guinea, Papua, be them anywhere on the continent, is just one. And so a poverty, a status that is labeled on one is labeled on all of us. The war going on or whatever, the rioting that is going on in Sudan, it's all on us. If it's put out there on the mainstream media, no one is going to, they won't even know the difference. They won't even know what Sudan is all about. They will just say Africa and Africans. And when you walk past on the street and you are a black person, that is your story that is being portrayed out there. If it is carrying weapons or guns or whatever, or poverty, whatever it is, that image is a third world status image that has been implanted or inflicted on the African. So we need to rise up. We need to learn and educate ourselves. What is the need? What is the meaning of Pan-Africanism? Why must we get together? Why must we talk so much about our unity and keep aside every other thing? As a matter of fact, we said it on the Pan-African Daily, shut down Africa for 2 years and cut down break all the wars together before we start talking about free trade continental area for Africans, right? Others that are already developed, they can go ahead. But we need to shut down Africa, get our stakes together, ourselves together. And then we can talk about the Africa we want. And it starts by us just knowing who I am and how do I get my brother woke up or a sister to say, yes, we are all operating in these spaces, but remember, we are Africans. It doesn't matter whether we do business with others. It doesn't matter whether we intermarry. It doesn't matter whether we do what. A European, whether they are married or they are not, or they're doing business together, they remain that. The problem with us is we switch too much. And we can see ourselves when we have friends that are even Caucasians or European brothers, we just say, no, oh, they are Africans. Don't worry, don't mind him. And you see, he can eat African food, he can dance African music, he wears African fabrics. Does that make him an African? And so, this compromising, always so simplifying things. What about us? Why don't we even just start by saying it is about us? So I want to thank all of you who took this 1 hour just to listen to this breakup. And I can tell you, hey, you see, there is tiredness all over, right? But we have to do our work, what we've been called to do at this space in time and at this moment, all right? I hear there's a lot of celebration out here. I see even our German brothers and sisters and even Africans that are here going out today. Is going to be a Halloween or what? I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't celebrate anything in that. I know my spirituality. But if you're celebrating Halloween or whatever thing you're doing, we are all with you. We celebrate with you. We wish you all the best time out there. Enjoy yourself, get together, but please take care of yourself. Okay. And like I said again, once more, our heart and those lives that have been, the blood that has been flowing out there in Sudan for one reason or the other, we say condolences to all that have departed, and that we know that we're just on the journey of transition, right? We're not afraid of anything anymore. They're going ahead and we're coming shortly even, right? So I want to thank you and wish you a good night, and we see ourselves again this week. Just pay attention to who is the guest that we'll be having on Solidarity for Sudan, so we can get into that history to know what is going out there, what has been cooking out there. We're going to get this to us. So again, I'm going to end up this conversation with a video from Professor P.L. Lumumba, and we see ourselves again this week. Good night. Bye.
Nobody cares about us. And brothers and sisters, if you want to know how weak we are, and we are weak, look at how we are treated. Last month, the world met in New York. The General Assembly. When African heads of states and government are speaking, the hall is empty. Nobody bothers because they are saying nothing. Even if they are saying something, it is something that can be ignored. Compare when an African head of state and government is speaking and when the Prime Minister of Little Israel is speaking. They will listen because we are weak and disunited. So we have a weak continent because the spirit of Pan-Africanism disappeared. So the question that we can ask, what is the state of Pan-Africanism as we speak today? The African Union, which is weak, says the right things and does the wrong things 9 out of 10 times. And what are the critical areas in which we are weak? We are weak politically because nobody listens to us. We are not trading with one another. Intra-African trade is not anything beyond 15%, the lowest anywhere in the world. If you look at all our sectors and look at them, look at our agriculture, almost all African countries are net food importers. There is not a single African country that is in meaningful technology. Not a single African country produces a mobile phone. Yet the single most important ingredient in mobile telephony is to be found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Not a single African country produces a car other than assembling completely knocked down kits. There is no meaningful production of pharmaceutical products in Africa. And if there was any doubt, COVID exposed it. All African countries, the 55 of them, are waiting to either receive Sinovac from China, Sputnik from Russia, AstraZeneca, Johnson or Moderna. And we don't even know what they are because our bureaus of standardization don't know. If you ask the Ethiopian Bureau of Standards what they are asking us to be injected with, they do not know. They just believe it is a vaccine because the Americans have said so or because the Chinese have said so. Africa is weak, so that even this magnificent edifice, I suspect, has not been erected by Ethiopian engineers. When I see the signage in Chinese, I suspect it is the Chinese. That is how weak we are. That is the reality of our mother continent. It is because we are politically weak, we are economically weak, socially we are disorganized, culturally and spiritually we are confused. That is the continent in which we are today. We unite or we perish. That as I travel along across the world, People do not care about our Tanzanianness or our Ghanaianness or our Kenyanness or our Ethiopianness. In their eyes, we are all Africans. And perhaps that is what we should use as the building block in order to talk about African unity. But we are not being naive about that unity. Because sometimes when we talk about Pan-Africanism and about African unity, people think we are being too simplistic about it. No, it is not being simplistic and being naive. It is recognizing that as long as we remain the way we are, then Africa in the next 25 years will be recolonized.
Did you like or hate what you heard?
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 # 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.